Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, a narcoleptic comedian, and this is a podcast where people get into my bed and we talk about sleep, comedy, relationships, and more. I'm happy to be part of the Laugh Factory Podcast Network. For my 33rd episode, I interviewed comedian, solo performer, and my friend Brandi Denise. We talked about a lot of fun things: getting in trouble as kids, creating solo shows, the perception of being crazy, and why weddings shouldn't be an accomplishment. You can catch Brandi regularly at the Laugh Factory in Chicago, and also see her solo show, I'm Not Crazy, I Just Love Hard, at the Greenhouse Theater on November 11th at 11 p.m. You can follow Brandi on Twitter and Instagram at LOL Brandi Denise. That's LOL BRANDIDENISE. You can catch me this upcoming Saturday, October 29th at Zany's in Old Town at 7 p.m. Sleeping with Sarah is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free audiobook of your choice. This week, I'd like to recommend The Year of Yes, How to Dance It Out, Stand in the Sun, and Be Your Own Person by Shonda Rhimes. Again, that's audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. Also, if you like the podcast, please remember to rate and review on iTunes and iHeartRadio, and follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Well, let's get started with the show. Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, and I'm here with my guest, Brandi Denise.
Hello.
How'd you sleep last night, Brandi?
I slept really hard.
Slept hard?
Yeah, it was so hard. It was so hard for me to wake up this morning. It was a deep sleep.
Yeah? Yeah, so what, you just were you out last night, or?
Yeah, I was out. I got home around 1, and then I fell asleep. I had a weird dream. I had a dream that my sister had a baby, which she just had a baby, but she had a little girl, and this baby was like white as hell. It was clearly not her husband's child, and no one mentioned it, and it was
what?
Yeah,
that's crazy. I've heard things about that though. I've heard that sometimes black babies are born white and then they like change color over time or something. I've heard about that happening.
Sometimes that happens. I think also too, just different different whatever genetics get passed down. Sometimes they skip generations, and you can very well have a child that is not your race.
Wow.
If it's in your bloodline, you know.
Or it could be an albino black person. Is that
Well,
is that
albino too. Albino is a thing. I don't think it's just black people who are albino though.
No, white people are albino too, but I just they're the ones with the really, 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 really pale. Like, I'm pale, but not that pale.
Yeah, they have no pigment at all. I have a cousin who's albino.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, blonde hair, blonde eyebrows. Nothing on his body has color. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so what did you do in the dream?
That was it. I just remember looking at the kid thinking, this is weird. This is not... whose kid is this? That's what I remember thinking.
Just like, who'd you hook up with?
Yeah, it was a really cute little baby though, but I don't know.
Yeah. Do you usually sleep pretty well?
Yeah. I think I'm starting to try to go to bed earlier and not eat before I go to sleep. I heard whenever you eat before you go to sleep. I just been waking up like groggy and not having energy. And so I've been trying to eat earlier, like a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually like a 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock eater.
Have your dinner at 10 o'clock, 11?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, I kind of mix it up. It depends on how much I nap, because I nap a lot during the day, so then I'll or if I've got a show, or sometimes I've got things that are back to back to back, and then I just don't have time to eat, and I'm like, well, it's 11, I'm going to eat something.
Yeah. I like to nap. Napping is my favorite thing.
I love napping too. Like, I nap like every day when I come home from work, so I can get enough rest so I can go back out.
Exactly. I get off at 2. I think I nap from like 3:30 to about 7.
Oh, that's nice. That's like that's half your sleep.
Yeah. Then I go out, and then I come home and I sleep for about 5 hours, 6 hours.
Well, then you're getting like 9-10 hours of sleep. That's more than most people.
Yeah. I figure it out.
Yeah. Actually, it's totally okay to split up your sleep like that, I think. Like, I've talked to people about that, and it's fine as long as you get like a full sleep cycle in, which is like an hour and a half.
Okay, yeah.
So, as long as you like go through the REM cycle. Of course, I don't really go through that, so it's a little weird.
You don't?
No, I go like straight to REM. I've been like sleep tested and stuff. Like, when I was getting sleep tested for narcolepsy, they plug all this stuff up to my head and my chest, and they do this thing where they wake you up, like you stay overnight, then they test your sleep, and then the next morning they like wake you up every 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And like one time, because they shut all the lights off. One time, I started talking in my sleep within like 20 seconds and then shutting the light off. And like, and I don't know what it was. I think I said, because my parents were like in the room or whatever, or like nearby observing. And my mom said like, I said, they're shocking me, Ma. They're shocking me, Ma, in my sleep.
How old were you when you discovered you had?
I was, I was 15, almost 16. So, and which is pretty good. Most people get diagnosed like 10 to 12 years.
Okay.
So it's like a really rare, like and that's why I like try to talk about it a lot, because it's really, really misdiagnosed. Doctors don't want to diagnose it. It's like, only 25% of the people that have it know they have it.
Okay.
So it's like a big thing. It's like a lot of doctors like don't want to diagnose people or like are afraid to, and it's a very weird thing. I was very lucky because I went to a neurologist who was a family friend.
Okay.
And he got us in quick because I had a falling down episode. He got us in real quick and then was able to diagnose it.
Nice.
So,
well, that's good.
Yeah. But it's like, it's manageable now. I take meds. Sometimes I fall asleep randomly and I'm open about it so people know what's up. It's not like they're going to call an ambulance or anything. Yeah. But
well, that's good.
But it's just something. I think a lot of people have a lot of weird sleep things, though, especially creative people, because we're up late at night. We've got like more night schedules, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a thing, like whenever I go to sleep, I can't have any lights on. There can be no noise. Like if I hear the TV on in the living room, I have to go turn it off. I can't hear like soft music. I can't, if the hallway light is on and my room door is closed, I have to turn off the light. I can't have any closet doors open, no bedroom doors open.
Oh, wow. So you were a light sleeper.
Like everything has to be closed and off. It's not necessarily that I'm a light sleeper. I just don't like to hear things. I don't like to see things, and I don't like stuff cracked. Stuff being cracked, that's kind of just me being scary.
What do you mean? Oh, cracked open?
Like doors being cracked. I don't like that.
Like a nightmare, like you're worried that someone's gonna...
I don't know. It's just like a thing. It's like door has to be closed and locked. I just can't fall asleep. No windows open. Can't do it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a very heavy sleeper, and I have to, like, almost everyone I date, I'm like, hey, you heavy sleeper? Just, like, double checking, because I'm like, if you're a light sleeper, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, just because I talk in my sleep. Sometimes I snore when I drink, I move, and I'm a heavy sleeper, and I'm just used to that. My roommate's, like, a dead heavy sleeper. Like, he's such a heavy sleeper, and I'm just used to that, you know? Yeah. So it's like, I just see down the road, if we end up having problems, it could be because they're a light sleeper and I'm not.
and I never really thought about it. I think maybe I am a light sleeper. I remember being in high school hearing my stepfather snoring and literally being upset because they had a room not too far from mine, and I just never understood how my mom could sleep in the same room as him. Because I'm like, I'm not even in the room and I hear it, and yeah. Anything can wake me up. Yeah, so
yeah, it sounds like you're a light sleeper. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think that sleep is, I don't know. I think it's good, but we stay up late. We end up going to bed like 3, 4 in the morning, you know, pretty late. So doing comedy and stuff. And you've been doing comedy for a while now, right?
Yeah. I've been doing it for a while. I'm going into my 6th year. It'll be 6 years in a couple months.
But you do other stuff too. You write like sketch, and you did one woman show too, right?
I have a solo show I do. I'm not crazy. I just live hard. I started writing and producing that in 2014. I'm coming up on my 5th version of it now. I always like take things out and add new bits and kind of recreate it every time. And then I also wrote another show, Black Kids and Her History, that I produced earlier this year. And then in December, I'm writing another show about my caseworker experience. So, and in my show, I like it. Like, people are like, oh, what do you like about comedy? My solo show is my favorite thing I've ever done.
Really?
Because I feel like it's so much better than stand-up. It's so much better than being an improviser. It's so much better than being an actress. It's like everything that I can do. I was just like, hey, you know, I could sing. I'm going to sing in my show. I can write. I'm going to write in my show. I can put on wigs and dance and dress up and act like a Beyonce. I'm going to do it in my show. It's like everything I want to do, I could just put into this show and be like, it's an explosion of all of my talents. And then I do stand-up. I do like 15, 20 minutes of stand-up. But like, the show's an hour, 15 minutes long. So only 20 of it is stand-up. The rest of it is just shit that I made up in my head.
That's awesome.
I even do some serious monologues too.
Well, that's what I like about solo solo performance is you have that time, because if you're doing like, even if you're doing like 40 minutes, 50 minutes an hour of stand up, you don't really have more than like maybe a minute where you don't have a punchline. There's not much time in between. But with like solo performance, solo shows, one woman shows, one man shows, you have that time where you could get into it. You can have a serious moment, and the audience goes with you on it. They're not upset that they're not laughing every minute.
Yeah. It's definitely kind of like a little journey. I like it a lot. And it's such a cool thing if you ever get to do it. You get to produce it. You get to I have a director. I'm there for a tech rehearsal. I do stage. I pick which stage lights I want for certain scenes. I get to pick when I want the music cued, what type of music I want played, and my stage director is just there to kind of.
It's been a goal of mine, but I'm not. I don't know, like that's it. It's one of those things that scares me, and I know you should always do things that scare you, but that has been definitely a goal of mine, like a life goal, is to do like a one woman show, and it's just about finding the right topic or the right thing I want to share and how I want to share it, But it's definitely something I would like to do someday for sure.
Yeah.
So, but I think. And you've what I liked about, because I saw yours last year, that I'm Not Crazy, I Love Hard.
Okay.
And I like how you also incorporated some other people, like you had Calvin in there for like a little bit.
Played my boyfriend. Calvin played my boyfriend. Like me and Calvin even wrote the Black Kids and Her Story. Me and Calvin, it was just like a whole, like I want to say a whole hour of me and Calvin playing like historical Black couples throughout history.
Oh, really?
So I love Calvin being my stage boyfriend. It's really fun. We have a really good chemistry on stage. I trust him, and it's cool to play with somebody that you just, what I'm saying, you just kind of click with, and it's easy to work with him. So.
Well, that's what's nice about working with people that you've known for years. You have that like trust built up, and I think that's why you see people that are like moving out to LA and New York and doing stuff with people like TJ Miller and Thomas Middleditch. They used to do improv together here in Chicago for years.
Yeah.
And then now they're on Silicon Valley together in LA,
That's how it works. Yeah. I don't think any of this stuff is so much that surprise or you were discovered type thing. I think it is all about connections and people that you meet and networks that you're involved in. I just auditioned to be on a show that's filming in Japan.
What?
Like 2 days ago, and like I literally got it just from like knowing certain people and having auditioned for certain things and being a part of certain sketch groups. And they called me, and it was like I ran into other people I knew that was there, and it was cool. But that didn't come because they saw me at the Laugh Factory or anywhere else. That came because you out here meeting people and doing what you love. It's just it's very natural progression. That's why I don't really get like stressed out about where I'll be or what I'm doing. I feel like as long as you're doing what you want to be doing and you're doing well at it, people will notice and you'll meet people along the way and the shit will come together.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that I like to say so I forget who told me this, but like never compare yourself to other people, but compare yourself to where you were this time last year.
Oh yeah,
and see like where you're at, because you're the only person you can. And this is not a normal job. It's not like, hey, you work to this point and then you get a promotion. It does not work that way. So you just compare yourself to where you were this time last year and be like, okay, yeah, I'm a lot better at this, and this. Like you could say, hey, I wrote another one woman show. I've done this and this and this, and I think that's the only way you can really compare yourself to where you're going.
Yeah, that's something to think about. Last year I had one show. This year I have 3. I didn't even think about it that way. Also, last year I was working full time.
Yeah,
and I quit my job. I liked my job a lot, but I was at a point where I felt like I was starting to get booked, and I felt myself getting funnier. And I was like, hey, you know what? I didn't move to Chicago to be a social worker, so if I don't quit now. I might not quit because I was also being offered a job that paid about $10,000 more. And so it was either maybe take that or apply for that one and possibly get it and not leave or just go. And I just, I said, I'm going to give myself a year doing it for real. And even within that year, I've seen so many things. Like I've been on the road. I've been at clubs out of town, and I'm headlining my first club in November. So it was definitely a good thing. It kind of, I think it's almost like giving yourself that reassurance. Because, I could have done it with a full-time job and been tired as fuck at work every day. but also it's kind of like, I have to hustle so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I literally, like, I have to hustle. Like, I hit people up so much more for shows. I email clubs constantly because it's like, I'm literally living, like, paycheck to paycheck. So I think it makes you work harder because you have to, because you don't have a real income to fall back on, you know?
And the thing is that it makes you realize that, hey, you really want this.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to not take that job that paid 10 grand more and instead be like trying to, you know, it just shows that you really want it, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Also gives you the full time to work on yourself creatively. Because like you said, you wrote 2 more shows this year.
Yeah.
There's no way you would have been able to do that if you had a full-time job.
That's true.
You know?
Maybe that contributed to it. I didn't even think about that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
That might be it.
But I think that's just really cool. Have you ever thought about touring your one-woman show somewhere else? Like doing it in New York or putting up in LA?
I would like to. I actually have a studio that wants to film it in the spring. Like, rent out a theater, give out free tickets, do 2 shows in one night, and film it professionally.
That's awesome, dude.
See if we can either get it sold, or even I get it sold. Maybe pitch it, like you said, in New York or LA, and see if I can get a run in another city. But yeah, a friend of mine is a pretty good director. He went to film school out in London, and he also went to DePaul, and yeah, he went to Columbia or DePaul. I don't know which one he went to, but
somewhere for film.
Yeah, he contacted me, and he has like a whole production team, and they're like, we really want to film it, we really want to do. So I'm like, let's do it. So if I sell it, or even if I get a run somewhere else, I'll be super grateful that people just want to invest in what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, that's because I've said this before on my podcast, but like, you know, Mindy Kaling, right? So she's wrote on The Office for a long time.
Okay, yeah, I know her. Yeah.
Mindy Project. Anyway, so she, the way she got started was she did a 2-woman show. It was like it's called Matt and Ben. It was about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and it was her and one of her friends, and they just played them whole time. And that got on like New York Fringe, and then they traveled and did it other places, and that's how she got better known, and that's how she was able to get the job in The Office.
Nice.
And so like it was from creating something original like that, which even though it was like a 2-person play, but it was just them, and it was showing off their writing skills and what they could do.
Yeah.
But she was lucky. I think she was living in New York at the time or something. So that was... But I remember reading that play in college or something. But
nice.
But I remember like coming across it or hearing about it. I was like, oh, this is a cool thing that 2 women did, you know.
Yeah. That is cool.
Playing man roles and stuff and switching things up. But it was just a silly idea they had. Like, what if we just did a play about what Matt Damon and Ben Affleck do on their spare time?
That's hilarious.
You know?
Yeah.
And what I love is that you could just take a silly idea like that and just run with it. Like you said, like go in and doing couples from different black couples from history. Like, that's pretty funny.
It was great. Yeah, that was fun.
What was your favorite couple?
Let's see. We had a couple ones that were a little bit more serious. My favorite was definitely Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott. It was just so funny. It was about Martin Luther King being a cheater, which everyone knows in history that he was a great speechwriter, great leader, but he was also a cheater. And it was about Coretta catching him and letters being sent to the house from other women in other places. And Martin just kept trying to use his speeches to get out of it, and was like, Coretta, I have a dream. These women will not be on me, Coretta. And it was just like super funny. And then we also improvised Barack and Michelle, and that was a lot of fun too.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah, we had a couple. We did some kings and queens of Africa. We had a slave couple. That was a lot of fun. We played with that. We had a Black Panther couple. That was fun. It was fun. It was a good show.
Wow, that's a really cool way to look at history, is like through couples. Because couples, like through history, I'm pretty sure couples have the same kind of fight. Like whether it's getting letters or getting text messages from other women, it's still kind of the same fight, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of neat to show that.
Yeah, it was cool. We did it in February, Black History Month. It was fun.
That's cool. Yeah, you said you saw my wig. I use that for a character I do. She's like a horrible mom. Like she starts out with good advice and then goes to a weird place. Like I've got, and I've been meaning to bring her up, but she's got like a thing where it's like, oh, you know, five 5 tips on how to raise your kids using dog training techniques.
Oh,
like stuff like that.
shit.
that came out because my mom potty trained my brother by sitting him on the training toilet, and she had these M&Ms, and like every time he peed, she'd give him an M&M.
Oh, well, that's kind of smart.
And it worked. Like within a day, he was like potty trained. So
Nice.
that stuff kind of works. So that kind of came out from that, just like exaggerating it and taking it to like a weird place, or like being like, I don't know, just like advice that sounds like it starts good and then she goes to a weird place with it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of moms like to tell people how to raise their kids. So
Yeah, they think their way is the right way.
And you said, so you worked, you said your next show is about being a civic, what?
A social worker.
Sorry.
I'm not 110% sure, but that's what I'm leaning towards, just because I have so many stories about working in social services. And I think also too that could be like a very funny, also like heartfelt, also informative show, because it's so many things that people don't know, and people rip on Obamacare. And I would also like to show the other half of it, where it's like I was helping people who absolutely had not had insurance in 15 years because they couldn't afford it, get Obamacare. So I would like to show that side of it.
Well, I really like Obamacare because honestly, like, thankfully I've been able to work things out so I didn't have a break in insurance. But like with the narcolepsy and stuff, like insurance is without that, before that law came into place where they couldn't deny you, like I would have had a real issue, you know, if I hadn't been on my parents at the time. But like I would have had a real issue trying to get insurance or being denied if that wasn't possible. And like I'm so thankful for that. Like I know people do rip on it, but I'm like, no, like you don't understand. If you don't have a thing where you need medicine every month, and if you can't get that covered, that medicine is like $300. I've had times where my insurance was more than my rent.
Oh, wow.
And like we're here in Chicago, you know, and so I've had issues like that, and it's like it's heartbreaking. Like I have a thing I say where I've like spent more time crying in Walgreens than anywhere else, and that's because it's true. Like there's been so many times where my insurance is like, oh, we're not going to cover you. And I'm like, okay, if I need to stay awake and be a normal person, I have to pay like $300 a month, or you know. So it's like, I don't know. It's a very weird thing, but I agree with you that there's a lot of flaws in programs, but I think that they're important too.
Yeah, they are. The health of the country is important, and in the long run, it'll save the country money. Because it's almost like preventative health care as opposed to reactive. And it is better to be that way as opposed to, you know, having a person who never had health insurance, who now has all of these issues, and now they have to be taken care of, and they're still being paid for by tax dollars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also even like the mental health is what I think really needs to be focused on too.
Oh yeah, especially in Chicago. That shit's crazy out here.
Yeah. So wait, where was your office, like downtown then?
No, I worked in Skokie, and it was really cool. So I worked with a lot of you know, when you think of public aid, you just think of like trailer trash, hood, black people. I worked with a shitload of immigrants. Like everybody that came in there usually spoke a different language. And we had over 20 languages spoken in my office. They would call my office like the United Nations, because so many different ethnicities there in terms of the staff as well as the clients that would come in. I mean, it was like Assyrian refugees. We would have, you know,
Skokie, huh?
People who had green cards, and you know, yeah, just all kind of shit. Yeah, Russians, everything.
Do you speak other languages?
I don't speak any other languages. I do not.
I don't either. I wish I did. I speak like a little Spanish and a little Italian.
Okay.
And I kind of wish, like, you know, my dad speaks Spanish, but my mom doesn't, so I wish he had spoken around me as a kid, because then I'd be like, I'd know it.
Yeah.
I know some stuff, but not that much.
Yeah, I think picking up another language, especially as an adult, is hard.
It's really hard.
I grew up, when I first started school in Germany.
You lived in Germany?
Yeah, I started school in Germany. My parents were in the military, and so when I was younger, I would speak it, but my parents didn't speak it, but my teachers and my classmates did. And so, like, I have video footage of me as a child speaking German, but, like, you know, we were there for a couple of years, and we moved to Kansas, and it just kind of went away.
How did you like Germany?
I don't remember too much about it. I remember feeling left out a lot. That's what I remember feeling, because not even so much as like I don't even remember the race of the kids in my class, but I just remember them doing a lot of shit, and I didn't know what they were doing half the time. And I felt like I was kind of left out. Like, the teacher wouldn't, like, really force me to do stuff. I also think my teacher thought I was slow. And I'll tell you this. I always say this. I say it was my first joke ever. I think my teacher thought I was slow. She actually thought I was dyslexic.
Oh.
And my mother had taught me to write before I even went to school. So...
props to your mom for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so she had taught me how to, like, I knew how to write the alphabet. I knew the alphabet. I knew how to write my name, and, like, I knew how to write like cat, dog. I knew how to write small words before I even went to school. So
that's really awesome.
So when I went there, I did the same thing with my little sister. But when I went there, my teacher called my mom and was like, I think Brandy's dyslexic. My mom's like, no, she's not. I taught her how to write. And my teacher's like, well, here's her work. She's been writing everything backwards. And it was like, I've been writing my name backwards and, like, all my assignments and stuff. And this was, like, kindergarten, right? And so my mom was like, Brandi, can you write your name? And I wrote my name the right way. And then my teacher goes, Brandi, why have you been writing your name backwards? And I looked up at her and I was like, because I thought it was funny.
Because you thought it was funny.
Yeah, and so that's probably the first joke I ever wrote. And
that's cute.
But I also think that maybe I was doing that too to get attention, because I said I always felt left out.
You're just like, hey, I'm just gonna fuck with you. I'm just gonna write everything backwards.
I did that.
I was gonna say, for a second, I thought you were gonna say you were left-handed, because my brother is left-handed, and when he started school, he would write things backwards.
Oh wow!
Because they didn't know he was left-handed at the time. But that's so funny. Did you do other stuff to just mess with people growing up in school?
No. Not. I don't remember being that small doing it, but probably when I got older. I remember I got suspended one time. I was like in the 4th grade, and my teacher was in a wheelchair, and I don't remember what happened, but she had told me to go get something, and I was kind of mad, and I was like, well, why don't you go walk over there and get it?
She's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, the whole class started laughing, and then someone, I think like maybe the dean or someone had asked me, why would I say that to her? And I was like, well, I didn't know anything was wrong with her legs. I just thought she was being lazy. And so, yeah, I got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
I had a smart mouth growing up. But then once I got into high school, I kind of figured out how to, like, play that to my advantage. And teachers really, really liked me. So I would get to, like, do all kind of shit. Leave class early, cut class, do all kind of shit. It's because I knew that I had the ability to kind of like charm my way out of things and make people laugh and like make them like me enough that I could do whatever I wanted to do. And so I would start doing stuff like that, coming to class like late, turning in assignments late, maybe like weaseling my way into making them give me extra credit that they gave to no one else. I would just do things like
wow, look at that's smart. I did that a little bit in college, because I would have to like set my teachers aside like within the first class or two, and let them know what about the narcolepsy, because I fell asleep. So then it gave me an opportunity to tell them, and then I would work really hard the first couple weeks, and then explain to them that I was also in theater and I had plays throughout the semester. So then I worked really hard and showed like interest the first couple weeks, and then I could be lazy the rest of the semester and like be like, hey, we had rehearsal, it ran till midnight, like can I turn my assignment in late, and they would be fine with it.
Yeah. I think that's the funny thing about comedy, when you kind of like look back at like all the ways you've kind of already used it in your life, and then you think like, hey, you know what? I've already been doing this. I just decided to get on stage and do it.
Yeah. Were you like the funny one in your group or your friends?
I would say in my group of friends and my family, no, everyone in my family is funny, but in my group of friends, definitely. My friends are the ones who told me I should do stand-up when I was in college, and I was like, maybe I should, and I did it. Like I had one of my cousins, also one of my closer friends, Michelle. She's like, you should do stand up. You are so funny, and she just always say that, and I was just like, girl, you crazy. And then I went to a show, and I was like, oh, I could do this.
It's always fun when you go to a show that maybe is like not like it's not anybody well known, not super professional, like, and you're like, oh yeah, I can maybe do that.
Yeah. I used to host a lot of things too, though. I was always kind of like on stage. I used to do pageants.
Oh yeah, pageants, like beauty pageants.
Yeah, I used to do those. I know you can't tell.
Oh,
I used to do beauty pageants. I used to host talent shows.
What was your talent in your beauty pageant?
Girl, I had a new talent every year. You couldn't tell me I wasn't talented. I started singing in competitions when I was 8. I've always been on stage. Yeah. One year I sang a Whitney Houston song.
Oh, wow.
One year I did a poem. It was usually like singing or poetry. I never danced. I definitely stayed the hell away from that. That's not a strength of mine. So yeah, no dancing for me. No art either.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not good at drawing at all. That's why I like the photography stuff. Yeah. I can't draw worth anything.
Not at all.
I used to be able to tag. I did that in high school.
Oh, that's cool.
But I only did it like a few times, but it was fun. That was like a thing that was cool. But
never did graffiti.
Yeah. I did. I only really went and did it outside, like, on things, like, probably, like, 4 or 5 times. And then one of my friends got caught, and so then I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah. But we used to do it on, the little name tag stuff and all that stuff.
Did you guys get chased?
I didn't get chased. My friend did, and they got caught. And then one time we were walking back, because we were walking back to my house from doing, like, one underneath an underpass, and, like, a cop stopped us for curfew, because we were out late, and we were clearly not, like, 18.
And where were you at?
I was in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So, Louisville, Kentucky, and, like, the east side of Louisville, so it's very, like, they're very fine. And actually, the cop just, like, was like, all right, cool, just make sure you're on your way home. It wasn't, like, a big deal. I was always very, like, anytime I did anything that was, like, towing the line of legal or not, in high school, I always thought, if I got caught, it gets scratched off my record when I'm 18, and I just made sure anytime my friends got caught for something, I would just stop doing it.
Yeah, definitely get scratched off your record. I don't have any illegal stories. I did get stopped for curfew, like, I'm gonna say 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I'm also 30, by the way, so he stopped me when I was like 28. It was like 11 o'clock or something, and I was up in Edgewater. He put the big spotlight on me on his car, and he got on the walkie and was like, "Shh, do you know what time it is?" And I'm like, "No." I don't have on a watch, no. And he's like, "How old are you? It's past curfew." And I'm like, "I'm 28. And he's like, sorry about that. And just like,
I think the second he saw your reaction when you turned the light, because if you're under 18, you'd be like scared as shit, you'd be like, ah.
When he did it, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, first of all, why are you putting your light on me? Like, what is going on right now?
Maybe they just like to fuck with people. Cops do too. Just be like, let's scare somebody, or
I don't know. That was crazy though.
Oh, I did get chased by the cops once. So that's because we were going up to this. It's supposed to be haunted. It's called Waverly. It was like it's now become like a touristy thing. But back then you had to like climb over a fence and sneak in. It used to be like a tuberculosis asylum.
Okay.
And so we heard it was haunted. So one time we went up and snuck up to go inside and see it. And this is like late at night. We had flashlights, like, and all this stuff, and some volunteer cops. They're not even real cops. Like the people that volunteer, and we're like 15, 16, pretty young. And then they like start chasing us after, and we're running through, because we had to go through like this woods, like, to get up there.
Yeah.
Running through the woods, and there were ropes tied in between trees, and we like tripped over them and stuff.
Fuck.
And so they stopped us. They couldn't do anything about it. But then when we went back to our car, one of our tires was slashed. And so then we had to, like, figure that out. And we had to have, like, this crazy old dude without a shirt on, like, fix our tire at the nearest gas station.
Wow. That's also the beginning of a horror story.
It is.
Then kids start getting picked off.
And it was like 6 girls. It wasn't like, we didn't have... Oh, yeah. And I hate to say that, like, I would like to get to the point where it wouldn't make a difference if we had a guy with us or not. But I feel like that's still a thing.
I don't know. Yeah. Getting picked off.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
I've definitely had some, like, things that I think could have started out as horror movies. And thankfully they didn't. But especially, like, because I travel in other countries by myself sometimes. So, like, there's always, like, those moments where you're like, okay, like, because I'm by myself, and even the people I meet, I've only known for a couple days. Yeah. So it's only, like, that different level of trust. So it's always that weird thing. But nothing bad's ever. I've never had a horror story moment, you know.
Okay.
But you like to travel too, right?
Yeah, I like to travel. Hopefully I'll be doing some more of it next year.
Maybe Japan?
Oh man, maybe Japan. that would be amazing. Especially, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, we'll see. I have some I'm like super excited. This is like, to me, this is like the best thing I could be getting. I'm getting flight benefits.
Ah, nice.
For one of my friends who works for United, and I'm gonna be on his flight benefits for a whole year, 2017. So book me, even if you're not in Chicago. I'm out here on planes for free.
Oh, so damn, that's awesome.
Let's go. Let's go.
That is awesome, man. I need to date a guy that's like into, you know.
Man, I'm telling you, it's that network. I met him in college.
Damn, that's awesome.
Ago. Yeah.
So what? They can just put anybody on that?
I mean, they could put anybody on it. I know. I'm sorry. I'm getting tired for real. I know a couple comics who actually have that, and usually it's just people that they know or people of people that they know, and they pay. They pay for it. I've seen like, some people pay. You know, I mean, sometimes you pay for it, sometimes you just get it. You know, it is what it is. So
that's cool. That's lucky.
I mean,
so you're gonna go all over the place next year.
I'm probably gonna hit like the main places: New York, LA, maybe go to Canada a couple times. Maybe hit that Texas, but I'm not trying to like go like to a whole bunch of cities and shit. But like, I definitely want to go international for sure.
You could take your show. You could apply for Edinburgh Fringe and take your show to Edinburgh in August.
That could be very well happen too. That's the point of having it recorded too, just to have it on tape, have it professionally done, and submit.
That's what you got to do, right?
Yeah. I'm super excited. I'm so fucking excited about it.
That's cool. That's really awesome to share your own. Do you have a favorite of the three?
Of the three shows, I'm Not Crazy, I Just Love Hard is definitely my favorite. It's kind of like it sounds like it's about a girl in a relationship, which it kind of is, but it's also more about me. So the show has layers and levels. Sometimes it's about relationships that other friends have had with men. One of the first scenes is a relationship, how I first discovered who Jesus was, and the relationship that I had with him at the age of 8.
I remember that.
You know, so it's like different things. It's not just all about like me dating guys and stuff like that.
But it also does talk about the perception of girls being crazy in relationships and all that. And I think that is a weird thing. I think we just get emotional, or guys are just dumb the way they communicate things, and they either lead us on or just idiots sometimes.
And that's the thing too. People are like, "Oh, you're crazy." It's like, don't call me crazy because I have feelings. Like, if I'm over here like running over your pets, then yeah, I'm crazy. But like, just because I'm yelling doesn't mean I'm crazy.
Yeah, it just means that you're feeling something at the moment and you're not holding back. And I think sometimes as a girl or a woman, we're told, hey, like, we gotta like keep that in check to a certain point. And I think that's bullshit.
And Dave Chappelle, I think, said it best. He said that calling somebody crazy is just a way to dismiss their ideas. It's just a way to just be like, oh, you're crazy, and just dismiss it.
And not listen to you. Yeah. And like just be like, okay, what you're saying is not valid. You're not making good points because you're being irrational or crazy or whatever. And I think that is a very fucking good point.
Yeah, it is. So whatever.
But yeah, I think that we've all done things. I think that's I do like the title though. I think that's a funny a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all been, guys or girls, we've all been in those situations where we've done something that is irrational just because we're feeling something strong, an emotion that's so strong.
You go off that gut instinct.
Yeah, and then you're like, nope, that was a bad instinct to do.
Yeah.
Well, we've all been there. That's where I got that joke about the breakup app thing, because like I would call, I'd get super drunk and sort of call my ex like late at night, and that would just be bad. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. I was like, why don't they have a way on my phone to keep me from doing this?
Yeah. But I think once you've definitely gotten over ex, you will not have a problem not calling them.
Yeah, exactly. But it just takes time.
Yep, that's not a process you could speed up.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, it took me a long time to get over my ex. But it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things. It just takes it. People say it takes time, and like if I know someone's been through a breakup recently, I'm like, I know everybody says this, but trust me, it does take time, but you will like survive it.
Yeah.
But
I think the older you get, the more you kind of put two and two together and be like, you know what, this shit's gonna suck for a little bit, but I'll be fine. But I think too that people don't take the time or don't even, they think that you should just be over things, but it's almost like you have to grieve because something literally died. You know, it's something that was a part of your life is not a part of it anymore. So it's you're definitely dealing with a loss. So that's the thing.
It's not something you can just be over in like a couple days. But I think the older you get, like for me too, right now it's like, oh, okay, like I know, like I only date people for like 3 or 4 months, and I'll realize, okay, this is either going to be a thing or it's not. You know, I'll be like, okay. Yeah, I have feelings for you, and I think that this is going to be something that'll last like a while, or no.
I think too, like 3 or 4 months is 3 or 4 months is a good place to kind of gauge it, because at that point you are really into the kind of like the nitty gritty. You kind of are out of all the pretty stuff, and you're starting to get into the real stuff.
You're not just showing them your date face and your stuff. They're seeing you,
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
the flaw part.
Mm-hmm.
And if they still like you after that,
the bad and the ugly. So,
but I think it's hard too with the industry we're into with like dating and stuff. It's like getting people that understand that.
I mean, I'm so focused right now on like what I'm doing. It's like if something comes along and it's fun and it's easy and it doesn't distract me, cool, great, I love it. But definitely not at a point where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm ready to make this man my life. I'm ready to be his wife. I'm ready to go sit down and get married and plan. Like, I couldn't even imagine planning a wedding. I'm trying to plan a solo show.
You're like, be like, hey, instead of spending like, 10 grand on a wedding, just give me 10 grand and let me like.
Can we produce my solo show?
Like instead of a wedding.
Yeah.
How many more people would be creating solo shows or creating cool shit if instead of getting 10 grand to have a wedding, they got 10 grand to create something awesome?
Yeah.
Like that's what it should be.
All they're doing is spending $10,000 on a fucking party for people who won't remember the party because they got too drunk at the party. And like, yeah, fuck all that. Yeah, if everybody spent $10,000 on something that they really, really wanted to pursue, or even if it was a business idea that they had to start up, take that seed and do that. That'll be more beneficial to your marriage, I'm sure.
I agree. And I also think that, like, I read an article recently, someone said that, she wrote it because she was engaged, and she said that she had had this idea for a while, but didn't want to come across as bitter because she wasn't engaged. But she said, like, she thinks that marriage is not an accomplishment. And that we're brought up as women to think, hey, this is something we really want to achieve. We want to get married. That's a goal. Mm-hmm. And it might have been a goal in like the 1950s when we didn't have stuff going on for ourselves. But now that we have our own lives and our own jobs and our own pursuits and ambitions, that marriage shouldn't be like seen as this big goal. She says that she is a lawyer and she's gotten promotions and she's gotten really great things that have happened to her life. No one has reacted nearly the amount, like people were happy for her. But they weren't happy to her nowhere near the extent as people were happy.
Rhimes who said this?
I don't know.
I know Shonda Rhimes that said something similar to that.
Where it's like, no.
Because she wrote How to Get Away with Murder. She wrote Scandal. She wrote she's Grey's Anatomy. And she said, like, all of those shows she's written and gotten nominated for all this shit and done all these spectacular things, she said she's never gotten so much recognition, so many, like, congratulatory things, so many things from her friends, family, and just other people, strangers, as to when she got engaged.
And I think that is, like, a problem. Like, I think that's a problem for women, because imagine if every woman that graduated from college, what if instead of having a wedding, and like, what if we got 25 grand to throw a party when we graduated college? Mm-hmm. Every woman would fucking graduate college, And I just think that it's just such a weird thing we put on it, and that is, oh man, that makes me so sad. Like that she's done all these amazing things, and everyone was so much happier for her. Oh man, for her getting married. I don't know. I just think it's a weird barometer as women we have to level our success, and I think that hopefully will change. Probably take a long ass time, but. Yeah. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of afraid because I feel like with relationships, it's like if I get into a thing, I don't want it to be my all and my everything, you know, like, because I have all these other things, and I find myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a little afraid because I don't want to be distracted from this other stuff right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's so real. That's so real. I've been in relationships like that where it was like, this had become so, just such a big part of my life that I started to kind of get pulled away from comedy. And once I got out of that relationship, I felt so fucking happy. I was like, oh my God, Mike every night, you know?
And don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. And also, just because that's what I want to be doing. I mean, sometimes when you care about somebody, you make sacrifices.
What I like about being single is, yeah, you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You don't have to, like, really,
I have my do what I want tattooed on the back of my neck. Girl, I get it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I don't have any I haven't found anything that I want to put on my body for the rest of my life yet.
I didn't really think about it long. I think I was in there for 30 minutes. It started out with the cross, and then I was like, I'm not really that religious. And then I was looking at some birds, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I was like, you know what? Psh, I do what I want. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say right now. I'll just say it like that.
I like that. Do what I want. That could be the title of your next solo show.
I do what I want.
I like that. I think that would be cool. I think that's a good message to have. I do what I want. I don't care what you think, you know?
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, with relationships and comedy, it just, I don't know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, I think.
I think that we're special people too. I just think we were special people, and somebody put it like this to me, and I think it was very, very, very interesting way to look at it. I mean, like, yeah, I could meet a guy right now who's, you know, got his life together, making all the money, making all the moves, ready to settle down, ready to be the one to someone. However, let's say he's making like $100,000 a year, which is
That's pretty good.
And he's serious about me, and he wants to do this. I'm actually describing my last relationship, but this is a thing. And then let's say I keep doing comedy, and comedy takes me away. You know, I go to Japan, I go to LA, I go to Edinburgh, and I do all these magnificent things, and then you put yourself in a whole different group of people. You put yourself in a creative group of people who are making more than $100,000, people who are doing more than what that person here. Like, it's almost like going on let's say you're going on an adventure, and you know that you're gonna go into you're gonna take the river somewhere, and you stop along the river, and you buy the first canoe you see.
Oh yeah.
And then like you keep traveling down the river, and you like, God damn, they got some
good canoes.
Like canoes, they have motorboats. It's a ship down at the end. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I'm on the river, and I was thinking about pulling over to get like some canoes, and I was like, you know what? Let me go down a little bit further. Let me see what else is being offered to me. Because I mean, think about it. Like, let me give you an example. Say I just someone like, give me a female comic. Okay, someone like
someone we know, or like somebody that
like Amy Schumer.
Eliza Schlesinger.
Amy Schumer started in Chicago. And imagine had she continued to date or even married the guy that she met when she was 5 years into comedy. And look where she is now.
Exactly.
And look at the people she's around now. And it's like, girl, your options, guys, so much better.
Yeah. That's
so, like, I'm kind of holding out, shit.
I think that's a very good point. I think that
guys do it all the time. You think a guy's marrying his high school sweetheart if he knows he's going to the NFL? Fuck no. He's waiting until he gets to the NFL, and then he's going to go find whatever he wants.
But you look at some people like Kumail and Emily, you know, Kumail, he's on Silicon Valley. He also hosts like The Meltdown in LA. Like he and Emily, she's not a comic, but she's a producer. She helps produce rooms. She helps produce shows. They've been together for like a long time. But they kind of came up more together, you know.
And I'll say that too. I think there's a difference between finding a regular person who's like, I make $100,000 a year. I'm probably going to make this for the next 10 years.
I'm in marketing.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
As opposed to dating another creative person. I would have no issues with dating a creative person seriously who was a producer, who was a writer, who was a comedian, because it's like their ceilings aren't tapped like mine aren't.
And they get it, and they get the opportunities you have. They're like, hey, if you got to go to Japan, you know, I got this family thing, but the Japan thing is a bigger deal. I get it, you know. I'm not going to be mad at you for not going to this wedding or something. You know what I mean?
And I think too, like I said, I don't feel like their growth is limited, just like I don't feel like mine is. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like they can also feed you creatively. You can, even if they're not a comic, you can bounce ideas off of them or be like, hey, this is something I've been trying out, and get their feedback, and it means more than just someone who's a non-comic or non-creative.
I dated a comic who I'm pretty sure in the next 5 years is going to go on to do great things, like probably have his own show, maybe be on a show, and we didn't work out because we just had communication issues, but that's an example of starting with someone, because we definitely kind of started around the same time. That's an example of starting with someone and growing together, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to go where I'm going and he's going to go where he's going. And then like, even now we still work together. I'm sure in years later we'll still work together. Just the relationship didn't work out. But that's an example of like what you were saying with the couple who...
Yeah. But I think that's cool, and that's mature enough to be like, hey, we're both going to be in this game for a long time. We're probably going to work together. If this doesn't work out, that's cool, but we're still we're in this industry. We're going to run at each other at some point. We can't be weird about it, you know? Yeah. And that's what I appreciate about people with that, you know? Yeah. But yeah, that's... I think that creative... I don't know if I could date someone that's not creative. Like, I don't know if I could be happy or get it.
It gets a little boring. Especially when I feel like I feel like creative people have a certain vision and they understand visions, and people who aren't creative don't understand them, and that's a huge thing.
Or we're like weird. Like I used to date this guy. This is like I was maybe like a year into comedy or whatever, and I was dating this guy, or not even. But anyways, he just didn't get me. I was like weird, and he was he did like marketing or something. He had like a nice condo downtown. He had all this stuff. Like I could tell like he was looking for someone to like. He's married now. Like I could tell like, hey, if I stay with this guy for a year, he's gonna fucking propose. You know, He's like one of those guys. Like it's like in his mind he had all these check marks. You know, and he's like, oh yeah, you check off the list is what he saw. But like I remember saying something weird. Like I don't know. I woke up. I had a weird dream. I was like. I had this really weird dream that I woke up, and by the way, we're in his apartment alone. I was like, I had this really weird dream where I woke up and you had a Lisa Frank sticker on your penis. And I was like, oh, I think that's funny. So I tell him that when I wake up. He's like, Sarah, sometimes you don't have a filter. He said the most serious way he could ever say it. And I was like, in my head, I was like, at that moment, I was like, I cannot love you. I could never love you.
What the fuck? That's weird.
But it's weird that he
And y'all were having sex?
No, we weren't having sex. This is like in the morning.
Well, I mean, but you had sex with him before.
Yeah, I did.
You weren't allowed to talk about his penis?
Yeah, it was so weird. Yeah, I was like, this was a weird, funny dream I had. I thought it was silly. We'd just woken up. I was like, this is something I'm going to share with you. And the way he said, Sarah, you just don't have a filter sometimes. I was like, fuck yeah, I don't have a filter. That's part of what makes me me. Like,
but not even that. That's a part of... I think saying things like that is not intimacy. That's a good definition of it.
So yeah, for that, I just felt like... I couldn't be myself around him, and that was probably the issue. It was like, you just don't get me. You think I need to filter myself. I'm like, that's bullshit, you know?
Anyone who wants you to change anything about you is not... Unless you're like smoking crack. Unless you're trying to change really bad shit. Like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, and even honestly, if they're smoking crack or doing... It's like, at some point, it's like hard to... You can't change that.
Don't change that. Don't let anyone change you. Keep smoking crack.
Do what you do.
And keep saying unfiltered things.
Cool. Well, as we're winding down, I usually ask people, because you talked about dreams a little bit earlier, I usually ask people, like, what are your dreams and hopes for, like, your future, for the future?
My dreams and hopes are to make this comedy thing into a very lucrative career for myself. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not one of the people that's like, oh, I'm not doing it for money. Like, fuck that. My rent is due every month. So definitely I want to be able to say I do comedy and make a decent living out of it, off of it. Definitely want to, just in the next couple of months, travel more, do more stand-up, definitely write more and some kind of way finagle my way onto a TV show. I would love to produce a television show. That's the ultimate goal. I know that's probably like, maybe 7-8 years down the road, but like maybe even 10, who knows. But definitely produce a TV show. But I think I'm on track. I have no complaints. I'm not one of those people that ever get upset or anything like that. I'm super grateful and thankful about every opportunity I get. I put in the work to get the things I get, and I'm just along for the ride. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. And we always end with going to sleep. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'm Sarah Albritton, and thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Brandi Denise. Remember to catch Brandi's solo show, I'm Not Crazy, I Just Love Hard, on November 11th at the Greenhouse Theater, and follow her on Twitter at LOLBrandyDenise. This podcast is part of the Laugh Factory Podcast Network. Please remember to subscribe and rate and review on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud. This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryan for the music. You can view more on sleepingwithsarah.com, and please follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.